There have been two very vivid versions of myself with acne. There have been two very vivid moments in my life with acne. The first one is me sad, beaten down, feeling like I didn't fit in at all. And it comes down to this moment where I was sitting in my car after school. I was sitting there crying, and I was just overwhelmed from the whole day of being picked on for having acne. And then there's this other version of myself, this moment where I had worse acne than that time, and yet I was smiling, I was laughing, I was enjoying every moment of my life, and I was in front of an HD camera, and yet it didn't make me feel uncomfortable. Like, what's the small thing that has changed that actually changed my life forever? Today I'm going to tell you guys that, and if you've suffered with acne, if you feel, isolated, or if you feel alone because of your acne, you absolutely need to stick around, listen to every word I'm saying, and hear this video, because this small change can change your life forever, just like it's changed my life forever. Okay, let me tell you a quick story. I was 15 when I first had my acne start popping up and getting worse and worse and worse. It was also, coincidentally, the first time I had gone to a public school. So I went to this public school stoked because I was a social butterfly, at least in the small groups that I had, so like soccer and church. And I was excited to meet more people and get more friends. So I was pretty excited, but a little bit alone because everybody already had their friends. So I quickly went from this excited mode to feeling pretty isolated and feeling like I wasn't fitting in, because when I got to school, I realized everybody already had their friends from like middle school and stuff. And then I was starting to get made fun of by like the bully kids, because everybody's got those bully kids at their school, and they're making fun of my skin. So I didn't fit in because people already had their friends. And then I started to feel like I was weird, or like there was something wrong with me because I had acne. Each time I didn't fit into a group, I would lose like a bit of myself, like a bit of my confidence moving forward. And I wouldn't push myself to do the same thing again, because I just had like this fear of rejection, and it stacked up and stacked up and stacked up until I felt isolated. I felt alone. I felt like I just didn't have the confidence that I had before this to do any of the things I wanted to do. For example, the way I started speaking to myself became negative. When, winter formal or whatever dance was coming up, I would have, a girl or a couple girls that I thought were really cute, and I wanted to ask them out to the dance. But then there would be this voice in my head where I'd think about it and I'd say, no, that girl's way too pretty to ask out. You have all this acne on your face. She's going to say no. Just don't do it. You aren't going to get hurt that way. And then you don't have to feel, rejected. You don't have to feel dumb, or you don't have to feel ugly. So I would just slowly isolate myself more and more. And the way I was speaking to myself on a day-to-day basis became more and more negative. It got to a point where I was speaking negative things to myself every single day of my life. I was saying things like, people would invite me to a party, and I'd think, there's going to be a lot of people there, people that I don't know, people that are probably going to be staring at my acne the whole time. And then I'm probably not going to act the right way. I'm not going to be the cool kid. And then I'm going to feel even more alone, and I'm going to feel stupid, and they're going to think I'm the weird kid. It's like stuff that it doesn't quite make sense when you just say it out loud. It kind of sounds stupid, but like your mind gets there. Some of you I'm sure are relating right now. You just have the worst things to say to yourself. There's like that old saying that's like, you're your own worst enemy. That's exactly how I felt. I felt like I just wasn't good enough. So I would stay away from these kind of things. I just didn't want to take any chances where I would feel like I was rejected or I felt alone. So over time, it got worse and worse. But then this really cool thing happened. And this is where I wanted to tell you guys how you can change your life as well. I fell in love with bodybuilding. So basically, I slowly gained this passion for lifting weights because I was always athletic. And I just really felt like this was something that was in my control. It had nothing to do with anyone's opinion of it or anyone's opinion of me. I could go in there, put in as much work as I possibly could, and I could come out with results. And what happened next was what really changed my life. I leaned hard into this. I leaned hard into bodybuilding and the progress that I was getting because it was starting to build my confidence. And then I noticed that people started to notice the work I was putting in at the gym. So people would come up to me and say, hey dude, you've gained a lot of muscle. You look really, really good for how long you've been lifting. Or they would say like, hey, what are you doing for whatever, your biceps or your abs or whatever, right? And so it was just cool because I was being recognized for the work I was being put in, but people were not focusing on my acne. They were focusing on, my progress. And what it did was it changed the way that I looked at myself. I felt proud of myself. I felt confident in the work that I put in. And the fact that people were asking me for advice gave me this new feeling of confidence that I had something to offer. I was valuable. I had, valid opinions. And it didn't matter that I had acne. The guy who wanted to know how to hit his, shoulder workout better didn't care that I had acne. He just wanted to know what was I doing so that he could do it too. And this just changed the way that I was speaking to myself, because these people were using positive words to talk to me. They were complimenting me. They were asking me what I do. And I started to change the way that I was speaking to myself. So I still had to take these small steps to improve my confidence over time. It wasn't an overnight shift, but instead of saying, you're not good enough, I started to say, just go for it. Maybe she won't say yes, or just go. And if, people are weird at this party or whatever, it's okay. You can just leave, forget about them, not be friends with them in the future. But tomorrow you go to the gym and you're going to hit that passion that you have. And what those people think of you, it's not going to make any difference, because you're still able to lift. They don't decide your worth. And so by changing these words that I was using, I was changing the way that I thought of myself. This is where I need you to listen up. The words that you use, I know it sounds a little hippie and stuff. There's the law of attraction. You probably heard of it before. Positive affirmation, saying kind things to yourself in the mirror before you start your day each morning. And that's one way of looking at this, one version of it. But really what it comes down to is what you say to your conscious mind, what you think constantly right before bed. You say, oh, I'm so ugly. I hate these pimples that are on my face. I hope I don't wake up with a new breakout, because that would just literally ruin my day tomorrow. Your subconscious takes whatever you think in your conscious mind and then tries its hardest to make that the truth. So if you say that, if I have a breakout tomorrow, it will ruin my day. It means when you wake up and if you have a breakout tomorrow, your subconscious has already solidified that deep into your brain. And when you see a new pimple on your face, you're going to say the whole day is shot. And then what are you going to do? You're going to isolate yourself. You're going to say no when your friends ask you to go out. You're not going to go on that date you wanted to go on. You're not going to go on stage in front of people and dance or sing or do whatever it is that you love, because you're going to slowly reinforce these negative thoughts about yourself. And to you, it's going to be true. Even though it's not true, even though you're not less beautiful or less worth than you were before, you've now created this talk in your head where you think you are. And maybe no one else is even think that at all. Maybe no one else even realizes you have acne. So many times, girls that I was talking to, girlfriends, would say, I never really even noticed your acne until you started bringing it up. I mean, I knew it was there, but it's not something I was focusing on. But in my brain, where I had spoke so many times negative to myself, I thought, this girl is just staring at every one of my pimples. We get close or whatever, we're dancing, and all she can do is stare at my pimples. And meanwhile, she wasn't thinking that at all. She was just staring at me right in the eyeballs. Or maybe she was thinking about her own insecurities. My point is, the first step to gaining confidence is changing the words that you use to speak about yourself and to yourself in your mind. So from now on, no longer are you allowed to say negative things. You always have to switch it slightly so that instead of speaking negatively to yourself, you're speaking about what you could do to make things better. So instead of saying, people don't like me, you say, I don't put myself out there enough to find out if people like me. Instead of saying, I don't have any friends, I'm not going to have any friends, you say, I'm going to start talking to new people. And even if I don't become friends with all of them, it doesn't mean that I'm not valuable or I'm not worth it. It just means that I haven't found the right friends yet. When you change the way you speak, you change the way you feel. And then you can start making these small steps out of your comfort zone. And the more you expand that small circle of confidence that you had before, the bigger your confidence gets and the bigger your steps that you can take, because you don't feel crushed if someone points out your acne. Instead, you've heard it before. You don't think that, what they're saying is true. You just know that they're ignorant and that you are still valuable. And instead of agreeing with them and double down talking yourself, instead you can brush it off and you get a thicker skin. And in the long run, this builds valuable confidence that other people don't have to do. They don't have to take this crash course of improving their confidence and building the way they feel about themselves. So a lot of people aren't going to have the same confidence that you'll have over time, even though you are the one who has acne, because you're the one who has been focusing on yourself, focusing on confidence, focusing on the words that you say and the reality that you put out. And you can change your life with this method. It's literally changed the way that I've done everything. And I no longer let people define my worth. I no longer let people's negative opinions crush me. Instead, I control my life. I control how I feel about myself. There it is, a bit of a rant, but I really wanted to get this out to you guys because this is absolutely pivotal. This is one of the really large steps that's coming out in my acne program. And it heavily focuses on obviously how to like holistically, naturally heal your acne. And I've had some amazing before and afters, but the part that I didn't really expect was how many people were saying that they've changed their confidence levels. They changed the way they think about themselves. They changed the way that they're living on a day-to-day basis because of the section that addresses confidence, which I'm really pumped about. So if you guys want to get on the waiting list for that, it comes out in about a month. Go to theacneprogram.com, sign up for the mailing list, and then I'll let you know as soon as it launches, and we can change not only your acne, but also the way you feel about yourself together. That's gonna be really exciting. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I would love it if you give it a big old thumbs up. I'd love to know what you have done to build your confidence with acne. Leave that in the comments below for myself and for other people to read, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Remember, you are not alone, you are beautiful, and you're a part of Team Acne. I'll see you guys in the next video.